It's This Week in Science. This week, May 11th to May 15th, properties of waves. Let's take a look at what we got for you this week. First of all, we got our notes. Came up with two different sets of slideshows. I couldn't do it any other way, otherwise this is going to be too long. One's on measuring waves and the other one's on mechanical waves. You really should watch the mechanical waves one first. I'm going to try to order those differently. Mechanical waves should be first, as the simpler of the two. Then comes measuring waves. I'll make a screencast on that later today. Second up, now that's your Monday lesson. Notice I'm starting to write down in here the day of the week you should really be doing this stuff. Here comes the Tuesday lesson. You've got the video questions. All the video questions this week focus on one man, Bozeman. All right, so these are all Bozeman's videos. Okay, that's the Mr. Anderson, and he came up with several different, very small videos on features of waves and things that waves can be measured. So we got wave amplitude, wave frequency, wavelength, and wave speed. All that is on the Bozeman. I can see some of you guys are on this already. Let's see who's going to be a part of our. Oh, nice. Good job, Cameron. Good to see. Next, it's the third thing, CK12. I didn't give you guys STEMscope this week. I'm going to talk about the STEMscope here in a moment. The third thing we got over here is the CK12 stuff. We got one Plex on mechanical waves. Then I found two self-assessments. Hey, if you got a question about speed you don't know the answer to, don't freak out. Just guess, all right? You know, the key thing is that you can do these quizzes because that's where the accountability shows up. The practice is to make sure you guys can read the book. I didn't want to give you guys too much CK12 and give you STEMscope to read this week. So I'm giving you the CK12 instead of the STEMscope. We'll take a look at the STEMscope though next week, and we'll do a little sneak peek right now in a moment. But first, the last thing, which I'm calling Thursday and Friday's lesson, it's a PhET lab. And it really shouldn't take you 2 days to do, but I want to make sure I don't give you guys too much. All right. So we'll take Friday off, or Fridays is basically spent catching up on the other 4 days that you didn't finish. All right, so that's what we'll be doing over here. PhET lab. It's called. It's on a string. I forgot to put. I put the link here. Let me copy and paste this link right now before I forget to do it. Let me copy and paste that right onto the calendar. Here, let me edit that right here in front of you. And this PhET lab, even though it's a STEMscope assignment, I want it on the drive. I want you to put it in your science folder because it's so much easier. So we don't even have to get on the STEMscope app this week. All right, so let's go a STEMscopeless week. Okay, that's basically what we got. But STEMscope is basically making these decisions in terms of what we're doing. So let's take a look over here at what we're doing and why. All right, so here comes the big list. We are now out of Unit 3. We were saying goodbye to segment 3, I should say, about evolution, and we're moving on to something different, which is somehow it's about sustaining local and global biodiversity, but how it has everything to do with waves. And so you can see 4 of the 5 units are about waves. We got properties of waves, modeling waves through mediums, properties of visible light, and modeling light waves. I'm gonna do the best I can the next 4 weeks to go through this segment 4 with you. This week, we're spending on properties of waves. We may spend a little bit of time next week on this too, because we're not even doing any of the STEMscope stuff. Next week, we'll probably dig into a little bit of this, particularly the STEMscopedia. All right. I thought I'd just show you what the STEMscopedia looks like to let you know why are we doing what we're doing. All right. So you can get to the STEMscopedia, by the way, in your STEMscopes. You always have access to it in the resources toolbox. But anyway, you can see the difference. They have transverse versus longitudinal waves, and with the focus on seismic waves. And then we've got wavelength, we've got amplitude, we've got crest and trough, and we've got over here, we've got frequency. Okay, frequency. All these things are brought up in my slideshow. And then we've got, we didn't talk about sound. Maybe next week we'll get into how this all works out with music and sound. Amplitude is loudness versus how light works out. So we'll be taking a look at sound waves a little bit. And then we're also going to see how to calculate the speed of a wave. This is not something we can really do in 1 week. This could be like a 2 week section over here, and I'll start bringing in some of the other stuff. However, this will definitely be a benefit. You have some practice problems over here with the STEM scope. All right, so that's what we're doing this week.